So implement structures to read, write and compute average marks and the students scoring above and below the average marks for a class of n students. Okay. So how we are going to do this? So class of n students, right? So let me take a small example first. Let us consider n is equal to 2. Okay, so how many is the number of students? I'm assuming that it is 2. So we have only 2 students. Okay, so for student 1, say for student 1, you have to enter the details, right? And similarly for student 2, you will enter the details. What are the details you are going to enter? Your student means, yeah, obviously you will be having an USN number, right? Then USN, then a name, okay, then marks. So for example, we have taken three marks of 3 subjects. So M1, M2, M3. Okay. So similarly for student 2 also you will be giving the USN number, name and marks of 3 subject M1, M2, M3. So this will be your first step. Okay, step 1. Now step 2, what you will do? Step 2, you have to, once you have found out, you have given the marks, you are going to compute its average marks. Okay, so for student 1, what will be your average mark? Average, let me take it as average 1 is equal to M1 plus M2 plus M3. How many subjects you have? 3, right? So divided by 3. Similarly, for student 2, what will be your average? Average 2 is equal to M1 plus M2 plus M3 divided by 3. Okay, so once you have computed the average, now you have to find out whether the student has scored above or below the average marks also. So class average you have to find out, right? So let me take it as your total average. So what will be your total average? Total average will be equal to average 1 plus average 2, right? Because you have only 2 students, divided by what is your n? N is equal to 2. Okay, so this is your formula you are going to apply. So let us take, for example, you can take with us very small values, M1, M2, M3, you can give it as 10 and you can solve it. Okay, so let me go directly to the program, and very important thing is you are going to use a structure. So what is meant by structure? You know that the structure is nothing but a user defined data type, which is a combination or which has a collection of variables of different data types, right? So obviously see here for USN number, you will be having a combination of roll number as well as if I take it as 1MJ01. So you will be having digits as well as your character, right? So it is of the data type character. Name, it is the data type is character, but see here M1, M2, M3 mark is taken as float and average and total is also taken as float. So you have different data types. So you know the difference between an array and structure also, right? Array can store the variables, different variables of same data type. But if you want to store the variables of different data type, then you have to go for a structure. So what is your syntax of your structure? You know that it is a keyword struct, struct, right? Everything is small letter because it is a keyword. Then you have structure name. Okay, so since it is the student, I am giving the structure name as student. Okay, student. Then you have to open the curly braces, write your, declare your variables ending with a semicolon. You know all these things, and close your curly braces and end with a semicolon. So same thing is repeated here. So include stdio.h, which indicates the standard input output header file, so that you can use the printf and scanf statement. Now you are going to give the template of your structure. So struct student. Student is nothing but your structure name. Okay, structure name. So these two now becomes the data type. It is not a variable. Student is not a variable. I hope that you know the theory. Okay, so open the curly braces. Now you are going to give character USN of the size 10, character name size 10, float M1 comma M2 comma M3. Everything will end with a semicolon. This is declaration, right? But float, average, A, B, G and total. So these are the next two variables which you are going to take, and end with a semicolon. Always don't forget, after your curly braces end with a semicolon. Okay, so you have now defined a structure. Now you are going to start the program. Void main, which indicates the start of the program. Open the curly braces. Now what you are going to do? Struct student. So this will become your data type, user defined data type. Now you are going to declare the variable. So struct student, what is your variable? You have to store, your option is n students, right? So you can, it is possible for you to not only store for one student, you should store n students. So here I am taking an array of student. So S of 20. So the maximum size is 20. Okay, so you can store the value of 20 students. So for the first student, now you can access it by, you can denote it by S of I, and I can take the value 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, end with a semicolon, struct student. So S is your variable name. Okay, now int n comma I, you are declaring another two variables n and I. Float t average comma sum is initialized to 0.0. Okay, so what is your step one? You are going to enter the number of students. So in case, for example, I am taking the number of student is equal to 2, where it will go and store scanf percentage d. It will store in number of students, it will be storing in your n. Since n is an integer, the format specifier is percentage d. Okay, now once you have entered the number of students, what is your next step? You have to, for each student, you have to enter the details, right? So for that, you are going to use a for loop. So for I is equal to 0, I less than n. What is your n? N is equal to 2. Now whether 0 is less than 2, it checks. Yes, it is less than 2. It enters into the loop. Now you will be entering the data for the first student with the index 0. Okay. So how will you, what are the data you have to enter? One is USN, second is name, third is the marks, and yeah, these are the things, three things you have to enter. Okay, so see here, printf, enter the detail of percentage d student. So this percentage d will be replaced by I plus 1. So it will be denoting as enter the detail of one student, first student. Okay, what are the values you are going to enter? Printf slash n, it takes a new line. Enter USN is equal to, you can enter the USN now. So how you will access the variable now? You know, accessing the member, always you have to remember for your structure. I have told you the difference between the previous scanf, what you will be using, you will be using ampersand, right? So scanf percentage, since it's a character, the format specifier is percentage s, comma, how will you access the element? S of I dot USN. You are using a dot operator. Okay. So what it indicates? Student S of 0 dot USN, because I is equal to 0, right? So for the first student's USN value will be entered. Are you able to understand? So always you have to use a dot operator if you want to access the element of the member. So scanf percentage S comma S of I dot USN. Similarly, you're going to use for your name. Printf ampersand n, enter name is equal to, since it is character format specifier percentage s string. Okay, comma s of I dot name. You are using a dot operator. Okay. So next you are going to enter the subject score, right? Marks of three subjects. So printf, enter the three subject mark score. So you are using scanf percentage, first percentage f. So in your previous slide, your marks are declared as float, right? Data type is float. So that's why you have your percentage f. So first percentage f will be replaced by S of I dot M1, right? You are using the dot operator as I have mentioned before. So S of 0 dot M1. Now second percentage F will be replaced by, second value will be stored, that is student, first student's mark 2 will be stored, will be replaced by your second percentage F, and the third percentage F will be replaced by SI of M3. Okay. Now, what is your next step? This is, we are going on with the first student. Now, S0 of total of this marks is equal to, what was a total? M1 plus M2 plus M3. And here one thing I forgot to tell, for float and integer, you have to include the ampersand sign also. Don't forget it. Okay. For string, there is no need of including your ampersand. Okay. So here Si of total is equal to, so what will be your S of 0 dot total is equal to, total of the first student is equal to mark 1 plus mark 2 plus mark 3. Don't remember, don't forget to use the dot operator. So Si of I dot M1 plus Si dot M2 plus Si dot M3. Now what will be your average? What will be your average? Total divided by number of subjects, right? 3 subjects. So Si of average is equal to Si of total divided by 3. Now you have calculated the value, that is the average of your first student. Okay, average of the first student you have calculated. Now what is your second step? Now again it will go to your loop and I will get incremented. Now I will become 0 plus 1, I will be equal to 1. Now it again checks the condition whether 1 is less than 2. Yes, it is true. It enters into the loop and it will repeat. Now I will be equal to 1. That is for the second student. USN, name, subject marks, then total, then average will be calculated the same way. Now average 2 also will be calculated. After calculating your average 2, again I will be incremented, right? Now I will become 2. 2 is less than 2, the condition is false, right? Now it comes out of the loop. Now you have individually you have calculated what is the average of first student and average marks of the second student is calculated. Now you have to calculate the total average, right? Total average of the class. Only then you can compare it. So for that, what is your formula? Average 1 plus average 2 divided by the total number of students. In this case, it is 2. Okay, so for that, you are going to calculate, this will be your part of calculating your total average. See here, sum divided by n. Why you are using this loop? See here, for I is equal to 0, I less than n. So for the first student, first value will be calculated. Whether 0 is less than 2, yes, it is true. So it enters into the loop. Now what was your sum? Sum was initialized to 0 0.0, right? Now sum will be equal to, what was the value? 0 0.0 plus S of 0 dot average. First student's average, that is average 1 will be added to your sum. It will be stored. Again the I will get incremented. I will be equal to 1. Whether 1 is less than 2, yes, it enters into the loop. Now what will be the value? Sum, already it is assigned with the average 1 now. Right, now it will be S1 of average, that is average 2 will be added to the sum and it will be stored, it will be assigned to the, now sum will be updated. So it will be nothing but the sum will be having the value of average 1 plus average 2. Now you are able to understand. Okay, now again I gets incremented. Now I will be equal to 2. Whether 2 is less than 2, no, the condition fails. It comes out of the loop, right? Now you are going to calculate the T average. T average will be equal to sum divided by 2. N is equal to 2. Already in the N memory location, you will be having the value as 2. Right, now your total average is also calculated. Now you know the total average. Now I have just printed the total average for your clarity in your output window. So printf slash n, it takes a new line. Total average is percentage f. Percentage f will be replaced by total average. So this value will be displayed here. That is the reason why I have written your printf statement. Now you have to display what is the other outputs you have to display. You have to you can display your total marks of first student and you have to check, right, whether your first student has average marks above or below your total average. So for that, so you are going to print the data for the two students. So same, you are going to use the loop for first student and the second student, it will be printed. So see here, when I is equal to 0, whether 0 is less than 2, yes. Now it takes care of your first student. Printf slash n percentage d student total mark. So what is your percentage d? Percentage d will be replaced by I plus 1. So first student total marks, first student total marks is percentage f. Percentage f will be replaced by Si of total. So it will be equal to S0 of total, right? S0 of dot total, which is nothing but the total marks of the first student. And average marks will be is percentage f. So this percentage f will be replaced by S0 dot average. First student's average will be printed. Okay, now it checks the condition whether first student's average mark is greater than the total average. That is S0 dot avg is greater than T average. If it is greater, then it is the student has scored above the average marks, right? Above the, so printf slash n percentage s. Percentage s means it should be replaced by your name, right? So si dot name has scored above the average marks in class of how many students? 2 students. So it is in the n, right, variable. Else it will check again the next condition, si of average, whether it is less than your total average. Then the same thing repeats, but it will be below average. So percentage s has scored below the average marks in the class of percentage d students. So your percentage s will be replaced by your name and your percentage d will be replaced by your n. I hope that you can understand this easily. Printf percentage f. And now if both fails, else what will be the next condition? Means both is having equal, right? Printf slash n percentage s has scored equal average marks in class of percentage d students. So three conditions is being checked. Now I will be incremented again. Now I will be equal to 1. Now it checks whether 1 is less than 2. Yes. Now it takes the data of the second student. So instead of S0 dot total, now it becomes S1 dot total, which is nothing but signifying your second student's data. Okay, so all the things will be printed. So this is how you are going to find out the average of your student marks, whether it is above average or below of the total average. Now let me show you the output window. Okay. So see here in the output window, enter the number of students 2. Okay, enter the detail of the first student. USN I have given it as 1MJ21001. Enter the name I have written as Ram. Enter the 3 subject score I have given 30, 30, 30. Okay, enter the detail of the second student. Same thing is repeated. So here I have given 1MJ21002. Name is Tom. Enter the 3 subjects 70, 70, 70. So you'll be getting one is what will be your total here 3 plus 90, and here the total will be equal to 210, right? So we can see the display. So total average after calculating what is the total average 1 plus average 2 divided by 2, the value is equal to 50. So first student total marks is, it is not id, it is 90, right? Correct, 90, and the average mark is 30. Correct. Average mark is 30. So the RAM has scored below the average marks. 30 is below. Now it will check, right, whether 30 is greater than 50 or less than 50. Now 30 is less than 50. Means what will be printed? Below average marks in class of 2 student. Okay. Now say similarly for the second student, total mark is 210 and the average mark is 70. Now it will again check whether 70 for the 3 condition, whether 70 is greater than 50 or 70 is less than 50 or 70 is equal to 70. So it will be 70 is greater than 50. If it is greater, then he has scored above the average marks in the class of 2 students. I hope that you would have understood this program.